Hi everybody, this is Dr. Jamie Marich, and today we are working with pressure points. Now, the whole logic of using pressure points for anxiety relief does come from the philosophies, the traditions of ancient Chinese medicine. These philosophies suggest that the body is made of energy, thousands of meridians that run through our body, and that what disease or distress is about is some blockage in energy that does in fact need to be released in order for equilibrium to be restored. Now, I'm not an energy medicine specialist. Through YouTube and through your study, I'm sure that you can look up and read about people who know a lot more about this than I do. But what I feel I'm able to give you in this video is just some of the brief pressure point exercises that I have learned that really do work very well for anxiety. And the reason that I'm presenting these to you is to show you that you don't have to have a phenomenal amount of training in energy medicine in order to make these work for you, for anyone you may work with. Now, pressure points are really very interesting. Basically, what they do is suggest that you hold pressure at a certain point, hence the name. And that if you engage in that point for about 2 to 3 minutes, then you can experience your intention of anxiety relief. In this video, I'm going to go through 6 or 7 of the energy points that you can hold for anxiety relief. It's typically recommended that you try each for 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to give you a little tour of the different points, and then I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to try one on your own, and then if you want to go back later and experiment with other points, you certainly can do that. Here's another fun thing I found about energy points, pressure points. Even if you don't buy all this energy stuff, which, I know at some points I've had a hard time really fully plunging into it, at very least these pressure points are ritualistic. They represent, I'm doing something. Especially this pressure point, which is the first one I'm showing you. This one is called the Sea of Tranquility. Now, you can bring 2 hands here to your breastbone or 1 hand. If you really do believe in the energy aspect of it, you don't even have to be pressing down all the way. Just lingering over or putting an essential oil or some tiger balm or something will have a similar effect. But why I like the Sea of Tranquility point is it literally suggests to me I'm guarding my heart. If my anxiety ever takes me to that place where I feel like my heart is going to jump out of my chest, let's go ahead and engage in the point. And you would breathe with it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and this always gives me that sensation of I'm locking in whatever I feel is going to jump out. A nice little variation you can do on this is interlace the fingers together. And this has a lot of symbolism for me as a fence. And it is literally like I'm guarding my heart. If I need to work on boundaries, this is a good pressure point that I come into. So that's the Sea of Tranquility point. Another similar point for guarding the heart is this letting go point. So what you would basically do here is take your 2 fingers just right below the collarbones or where the points lie. And exactly where the points are, I find, is not an exact science. It tends to vary from person to person. So just feel around a little bit. If you know how to kind of read for subtle energy, you can do that. But if that's something that's a foreign concept to you, just notice where there's a little bit of tenderness and then go ahead and engage the point there. And I also like this point because, again, it's heart guarding. You could do this, but I like the cross. And a lot of women I've worked with over the years in group settings have said that doing something like this helps them to feel protected, as opposed to this, which is a little more defensive. Doing this point does in fact help you experience a little more protection. A couple other ones that I like for anxiety are the various karate chop points. If you study EFT at all, you probably know that this is what's used as a karate chop. You can isolate both of these separate points though. So for instance, this karate chop variation would be holding the base of the thumb with your breath for about 3 minutes. You can also hold the base of your pinky for about 3 minutes. I also find that these points are very good if you're nauseous. So if you know your anxiety takes you to a place where it feels like you're going to lose your lunch or just where you're just feeling a certain way in terms of queasiness. These are good points to have in your arsenal. And then another variation is something called inner gate, which is just gripping the inside of the wrist for about 2 to 3 minutes. A couple of my other favorite anxiety relief points using the head. I'm going to just flip around here a little bit to show you the gates of consciousness point. So just thinking right here where the headline meets the neckline. And again, you would hold that point for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now, if you're like me, it gets kind of annoying to hold your arms up here this whole time. So often what I do is take 2 tennis balls or something that's similar to a tennis ball, put them in a sock, and then lie back on them. Even if you're doing it in the bed or on a recliner, if going down to the floor isn't available for you. Great points for anxiety relief. A lot of people report that they're also good points for relieving headache-related tension, and I also find it to be pretty beneficial for sleep. And then the final set of points and their variations are the third eye points. So I like to think of the third eye points as, this is our universal symbol for I have a headache. So think of how you might grip your head when you have a headache. It's real similar to that. Just right here, kind of making this pyramid, this triangle on your forehead. And then another variation you can do is a point called clear mind, which is just right here in the center of the forehead. This is one of my favorites. We're actually engaging here this medial prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain where mindful awareness occurs. So just breathing with this point. So I'm going to stick with this point. You can stick with this one or choose any of the other ones that we've done in the video thus far. And I'm going to give you about 2 minutes here just to experiment, holding the point, knowing that's your only task here. And just notice what happens. And go ahead, releasing the point. Just taking a breath, honoring any micro movements coming out of the body. And just notice your body's experience now in this moment. One thing I find about using pressure points in this way, just as an instant little coping skill, is you're not necessarily going to notice big, huge radical shifts, but I do find that they can help me be more grounded when I need to be more grounded, more in my body, more in the present. If the pressure point that you tried as part of this exercise doesn't seem to be optimal for you, go back, experiment, try all of these different ones that I reviewed on this video. If you're like me, you'll find that there's a point that tends to be your go-to point. Sometimes I have several. In certain situations, I know that, let's say, engaging this point will really help me just feel this sense of calm instantly. Whereas this point, if I stay with it for a few minutes, I do find some of that nauseous uneasiness tend to lift. So keep experimenting. This is very much a trial and error type of experience, and you'll find what best works for you. This is Dr. Jamie Marich. Thank you for joining us today. reminding you to be well.